Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special edition of Inside Sports. I'm your host, Todd Blackstock. Today, we're going to be talking Missouri State High School sports with the communications director from the Missouri State High School Activities Association, Jason West. Jason, thanks for spending some time with us today.
Not a problem. Thank you for having us on.
You know, I bet you right now your office is pretty busy. You've got so many things going on with the pandemic, and some schools are going virtual. Some are going to be having some classes and back and forth. And how is that affecting the fall sports in 2020?
Well, there's certainly more questions than answers right now. We do have a lot of schools that have started their fall practices and are getting ready to either have some sort of jamboree or preseason scrimmage and getting ready for the first allowable competitions next weekend starting with the 28th. And then we still have some schools that haven't quite started their fall practices yet and are still trying to formulate some plans on how to return to school this fall.
It seems like the urban areas are holding back a little bit, and some of the rural areas are moving forward with practices and things. Is it a decision by the different school districts, or is it a countywide situation? How do you separate, who can and can't play?
Well, each school has the ability to formulate their own plans. What our strong recommendations are for the schools to follow whatever their local health officials have put in place. And so they are supposed to be following any type of local health orders or ordinances or things like that go along with that. And that might restrict the number of students they can have at a practice, or even if they have spectators there, how many people. Some places have mask ordinances where masks would be required for anyone not actually participating at that moment. So the schools, their plans must follow any of those type of orders.
So it sounds like that fans and parents may be allowed to attend the games for the school districts that decide to go ahead and move forward, but they'll be required to wear masks and things. Will there be any guidelines or seating limitations that you know of moving forward this fall?
Well, again, that's going to depend on whatever local order is in place at the time of the event. For example, in Boone County, where our offices are located, there currently is a seating limit based on the percentage of people that would be allowed in the venue at that time, with a limit of no more than 100 people. And so the school have some sort of plan in place on how they're going to limit that number and who's going to come in and things like that. But any type of seating restrictions or limitations, that's going to be strictly a local health order. That's not a MSHSAA limitation. That's going to be on.
So right now it looks like the fall sports are football. That's the one with the biggest spectator support. Then you have soccer, cross country. Anything else I'm missing on fall sports?
Right, we have boys soccer, both boys and girls cross country. Also have volleyball. We have fall softball and boys swimming and diving, as well as girls tennis and girls golf in the fall.
So there's a whole lot going on right now in the fall. I know you guys met last week, and the Missouri State High School Activities Association came up with a plan that if some of the schools were impacted or couldn't finish their season or decided not to move forward, there's a plan to possibly move things back to the spring. Can you explain how that would work?
Well, in an effort to at least provide some opportunities for students who may have their seasons limited or cut short, the board of directors felt that there should be an alternate season. And this is something that we've talked with the board at, for a few months now. And we're finally able to kind of put something in stone to allow for some opportunities if there are schools that are not able to participate fully this fall, then also have some hopefully later in the spring when things may be a little bit more closer to normal. So far we've had one school let us know that they want to participate in the alternate season for cross country and volleyball. But we're anxiously awaiting to hear from more schools.
There were some different dates that you were in your press release. I was looking it over it before the interview here, and it seems like there's an opportunity to go from like March to the beginning of May. Then there's another timeline from like May to July. Is there an opportunity to push the sports back as far as into July in the spring so that there's no overlap? Because I think one of the big problems could be, say, you got a stud football player, and he's trying to get a scholarship, and he also plays baseball in the spring, and he might be a pitching prospect for someone. Is that an opportunity there so that they could play both in the same part of the year?
Well, and that's exactly why there's an alternate spring season option as well, to help the schools with the logistics and facilitate those and try to limit that overlap of coming out of one season into the next. And so if a school does wish to participate in an alternate fall season, they will also be, their sports would also automatically be placed in that alternate spring season to help facilitate that overlap. One caveat to that is a school could still declare that they would like to participate in the traditional spring season, which would mean there's more overlap, but that would be up to the school if they still want to be in the spring season.
Yeah, it would seem that would hurt, some of the student athletes if they're trying to possibly get a scholarship. If they would play, at the same time, then it's kind of tough playing two sports. I mean, I can see maybe like track and baseball. If there's an off game, you can go, run the track, but I'm not sure you'd get enough practice that way. Can you tell us specifically which conferences right now are planning on moving forward? I mean, say, for instance, the Public High League, the Suburban North, the Suburban West. In St. Charles, I know in St. Charles County that they're having practices right now, as it's kind of a bigger area, and I'm not sure that the cases have quite the density as, say, an urban city.
Yeah, well, the only school that has officially told us they want to move their two sports to the alternate season is in the southwest part of the state. So as far as we know, all the other conferences that would be in the St. Louis area or in the Kansas City area or in the larger metro areas, they're still discussing what would be best for their schools.
And what do you think about how the colleges are doing it right now? Because you've got I don't know if it's political or what, but it seems like there's conferences like the SEC that they're going to go ahead and move forward. But then you have like maybe the Big Ten, they're not going to play this year. They're going to move some things back. Are you in communications with them? Because, high school obviously segues into college.
We do watch and monitor those discussions. We haven't actually had face-to-face or phone-to-phone conversations with those conferences, but we do pay attention to what they're doing. But one of the biggest differences between the collegiate level and the high school level is, like what we were talking about just a minute ago, is there are a lot more multi-sport athletes and students that participate in more than one activity at the high school level. When you're at the college level, that sport you're playing that you're on scholarship for, or even if you're a walk-on, that's the only thing you do. And you can concentrate on that one sport and you don't have to worry about an overlap and schedules and things like that. You go to class, you go to practice, and that's it. Whereas at the high school level, you'll have a basketball player, a softball player who's also on the track team in the spring, who also has 2 or 3 other extracurricular activities, FCCLA or FCA. And so that's one of the cons, if you will, on the list of pros and cons about just moving everything to the spring or trying to fit everything into a short period of time.
It seems like the athletes want to play. I mean, they're in great physical shape. They take good care of themselves. I think statistics are saying that, the majority of people dying of this pandemic, they have underlying health conditions and they're over 70. Some pro athletes have opted out, many with, newborn babies and, underlying health conditions as well. Do you think the kids are, pretty excited about playing because they think they can ward it off if they catch a virus? Because many of it's asymptomatic and you don't even know that you have it.
I think that's one of the reasons why the students are excited. It gives them something to look forward to. Also, the mental health of being involved in a team and getting the brain working back like you have. Many of the students have kind of been sitting on their couches playing Call of Duty all summer. And so having that thing, that carrot in front of them to get them back into school time mentality is really helpful. I know I have a 16-year-old at home too that is one of those that has been on the couch most of the summer. But now that school's starting to ramp up, he's in the marching band and they're having their band camps and things like that. So his attitude has almost been a 180 this summer, and it's been very refreshing to see how he's interacted now. And so I know that's one of the reasons why parents are very excited too, to kind of get their kids back out of the house and looking forward to something.
Yeah, it seems like you have to weigh the situation because, a lot of people are suffering from, depression right now. You've got to weigh in on that. A lot of people have lost their jobs, their livelihoods, and they're not sick, but they want to protect others. It's like, it's got to be a fine line to where, other things aren't going to be worse because of all the shutdowns right now. And I think moving forward it's worth a shot. And if something crazy turns, then it looks like the Missouri State High School Activities Association has a plan intact.
And we're still fine tuning that as everything has gone with this pandemic. The best laid plans only last 15 minutes. So, things can be tweaked, and we're constantly in discussions about what changes may need to be made and what would happen if we need to have different plans available.
A friend of mine's a season ticket holder for the Kansas City Chiefs for 6 years. He said they're going to be going at 20%, 25,000 fans per game to start. And it starts with tenure. Like if you've had your season tickets for the longest, then you get to go first. So a lot of the season ticket holders are going to be knocked out. Do you think this situation will change the sports world in the future?
I'm sure there will be some long-lasting effects. I think there also is going to be an explosion of when things are able to return to normalcy, be it when there's a vaccine or when we've kind of scooted the virus out and everyone has built up their immune systems and those scientific things. I think there's going to be a huge explosion in the sports world of everybody wanting that content and to be there and being able to watch it live. I for one can't wait to get to the movie theater and have movie popcorn again.
Yeah, it seems like there's a pent-up demand for entertainment and sports right now. Any final thoughts, Jason, before we let you go?
We continue to have discussions on what can be done. Obviously, we feel that a return to sports and return to play can be done safely, but it's going to be the ultimate team exposure, and everyone has to be doing what they can to keep themselves healthy and rely on the person next to them as well as the person across from them that they're facing, that those people are doing what they can do to keep themselves safe and in turn keeping others safe. And the ultimate decision is going to be held by the families, and the families need to be able to have as much information as they can to make those decisions that are right for them.
Well, thank you very much, Jason, for joining us. That's Jason West, the Communications Director for the Missouri State High School Activities Association, right here on Inside Sports. Keep watching STL TV Experience St. Louis, and we'll see you next time.